The Distrius Cygeneo. The crystal spires of Villa Prime glittered under the light of 3 pale suns, but Ambassador Liren found no comfort in their beauty today. From the observation deck of the Grand Council chamber, his translucent tentacles pressed against the viewport as he watched the last refugee ships departing the orbital docks. "How many managed to evacuate?" he asked, his melodic voice barely above a whisper. High Counselor Thera checked her data crystal. "Just under 4 million. The outer colonies are already lost." Lyran's chromatophores dimmed to a mournful blue. The Vela Alliance, a peaceful coalition of 7 species spanning 23 worlds, now faced extinction. The Ravagers had appeared at the edge of their territory 3 standard cycles ago, massive obsidian ships that consumed everything in their path. Planets stripped of resources, populations harvested or worse. The evacuation ships will reach the sanctuary moons, but the Ravagers will find them eventually, Thera said, her feathered crest flattening against her skull in distress. Behind them, the once bustling council chamber stood nearly empty. Only the 7 high counselors remained, the last leadership of a dying interstellar alliance. "There is one option we haven't tried," Liren said, moving toward the center of the chamber where an ancient device stood. The quantum beacon, a relic from the early days of Vela expansion. "You cannot be serious," gasped Counselor Zeth, oldest among them. "The Deathworlders. The legends say such beings are unpredictable, violent. The legends say they evolved in environments we cannot even survive," Liren corrected. "And perhaps that is exactly what we need." Before further objections could be raised, he activated the ancient device. The central pedestal hummed to life, machinery awakening after millennia of dormancy. A holographic display expanded above them, showing their galaxy with several regions marked in pulsing red. "The beacon is targeting all Category X planets," Thera whispered, reading the ancient script scrolling across the display. "Deathworlds," Liren nodded. "Planets with extreme gravity, atmospheric toxins, temperature variations, predatory ecosystems, worlds that produce species hardened by evolutionary pressure." The beacon pulsed, sending a quantum signal across vast distances, reaching for worlds the Vela Alliance had deliberately avoided in their exploration. The message was simple: coordinates, basic information about the Ravagers, and a desperate plea for help. "Now we wait," Liren said, watching the signal's progress on the display. "If anything answers," Zeth muttered, "we may wish the Ravagers had found us first." 26 light-years away, on a blue-green planet orbiting an unremarkable yellow star, an alarm sounded in a subterranean command center. Captain Maya Chen looked up from her coffee as red lights flashed across the monitoring station. At 41, with dark hair streaked with premature silver and eyes that had seen humanity's first tentative steps to the stars, she had witnessed remarkable things during her career with the United Earth Defense Force. But the expression on Lieutenant Kaido's face told her this was different. "Captain," Kaido said, fingers flying across the holographic interface, "we're picking up an unknown transmission using quantum frequencies we've only theorized about." Maya moved to his station, examining the data stream. Source: the Vela sector, approximately 26 light-years distant. The command center grew quiet as other officers turned to listen. Earth had developed faster than light travel only 12 years ago, and their exploration had been limited to a small bubble of nearby stars. They knew other intelligent life existed. They'd made contact with 2 species so far, but both were pre-FTL civilizations less advanced than humanity. This was different. This was a transmission using technology beyond Earth's current capabilities. "It's a distress call," said Dr. Elara Wilson, the cryptography expert. She'd been working on the decoding algorithm since the signal first appeared. Mathematical language, coordinates, and imagery of some kind of attack. "Put it on the main screen," Maya ordered. The wall-sized display flickered, showing translated imagery. Elegant cities being destroyed by massive black ships, a diverse collection of alien species fleeing before attackers, star charts marking the advancing destruction across multiple systems. "They're being invaded," Maya said quietly. "And they're asking for help." "Captain," Kaido interjected, "the signal, it was specifically directed at Earth, not broadcast widely. They targeted us specifically." Maya's brow furrowed. "They know about us. We've never ventured anywhere near the Vela sector." Dr. Wilson cleared her throat. "There's more in the transmission." She expanded a new section of the translation. "They're calling us Deathworlders. They have us classified as coming from an extreme environment planet." A murmur ran through the command center as Maya read the data, understanding dawning. To these unknown alien species, Earth was considered a harsh, dangerous world that produced unnaturally tough organisms. Humans, evolved to survive Earth's gravity, temperature extremes, and diverse ecosystem of predators and pathogens, were viewed as potentially formidable warriors. "Get me Admiral Takahashi," Maya ordered. "We need to decide how to respond." 6 hours later, Maya stood before the assembled United Earth Defense Council in Geneva. The emergency session had drawn representatives from all Earth nations and colonies. "The signal is genuine," Maya concluded her presentation. "A coalition of advanced civilizations is facing extinction and has reached out specifically to humanity for military intervention. Because they think we're natural-born killers," the Brazilian representative said dryly. "Because we evolved on what they consider a death world," Maya corrected. "Their data suggests their species evolved in much more stable, forgiving environments. They lack our physical resilience and adaptability." "What exactly are they asking of us, Captain?" Admiral Takahashi asked. "Military assistance against an aggressor they call the Ravagers. Based on the data they've provided, this force has already conquered multiple star systems. And why should Earth involve itself in an interstellar conflict?" the Russian representative questioned. "We have only just established our first colonies beyond our solar system." Maya took a deep breath. "Because this is the opportunity we've been waiting for. First contact with advanced civilizations that could share technology and knowledge centuries beyond our own. And they need exactly what humanity has always excelled at, surviving against the odds and fighting to protect what matters." The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Then Admiral Takahashi spoke. "What do you propose, Captain?" "I propose we answer their call. The UES Thunderchild and her battle group can be ready within 48 hours. 8 ships, our best crews. We have the coordinates and can use our experimental long-range warp drive to reach them." Debate erupted around the chamber, but Maya saw the decision in their eyes before the vote was called. Humanity had spent its history looking to the stars, wondering if they were alone. Now they knew they weren't, and their first major interstellar action would be to aid civilizations in need. 3 days later, Maya stood on the bridge of the UES Thunderchild, Earth's most advanced battleship. Around her, 7 other vessels prepared to make the longest jump any human ship had ever attempted. "All ships report ready, Captain," Lieutenant Kaido announced. Maya looked at the view screen showing Earth growing smaller behind them, then turned to face the stars ahead. "Send a message to the coordinates. Tell them help is coming." As she settled into the command chair, she added, "All ships prepare for warp. We have an appointment to keep." As the warp engines engaged, Maya wondered what these aliens would think when they actually met humans face to face. They had called for Deathworlders. They were about to get exactly what they asked for. The human fleet emerged from warp at the edge of the Vela system, their engines casting blue-white light against the darkness of space. 8 ships arranged in perfect formation, the pride of Earth's military might. Captain Maya Chen stood on the bridge of the UES Thunderchild, taking in the scene before her. The holographic display showed a once beautiful planetary system, now bearing the scars of war. Debris fields orbited where moons should have been. The outermost planet had been cracked open like an egg, its resources harvested by invaders. "Life signs?" Maya asked. Lieutenant Kaido studied his console, detecting a concentration of various non-human biosignatures on the 3rd planet from the star. approximately 7 million individuals clustered in one region, with several smaller settlements scattered elsewhere. And hostiles? Dr. Wilson asked. Multiple large vessels on the far side of the system, Kaido replied. They appear to be processing the remains of the fifth planet. They haven't detected us yet. Maya nodded. Their arrival point had been carefully chosen to avoid immediate detection. Communications, send a narrow beam transmission to the third planet. Identify us as responders to their distress call. Within minutes, a reply came. The main view screen displayed an alien face, slender with iridescent skin that seemed to shimmer with internal light. 4 eyes blinked in sequence, and delicate gill-like structures fluttered at the sides of its neck. I am Ambassador Liran of the Vela Alliance, the alien said, its voice translated through the ship's computer. You are from Earth. Maya stepped forward. I am Captain Maya Chen of the United Earth Defense Fleet. We received your distress signal and have come to offer assistance. The alien's skin pulsed with colors, an emotional response the humans couldn't yet interpret. You actually came, Liran whispered. The council said no one would answer, that the signal was sent in vain. We're here, Maya assured him. We've brought 8 ships and our best personnel. We'll need to meet to discuss the situation and how we can help. Liran seemed to hesitate. Yes, of course. We can provide landing coordinates for your shuttle. But I must warn you, our atmosphere contains higher levels of argon than you may be accustomed to, and our gravity is only 0.8 of Earth standard. Maya smiled. We'll manage. DEATHWORLDERS sheet. 2 hours later, Maya led a delegation of 6 humans through the ornate halls of the Vela Council building. The aliens had prepared a welcome ceremony, but the captain noted the nervousness in their movements as the humans approached. The Vela Alliance, they discovered, comprised 7 distinct species. Ambassador Liran belonged to the Luminar, aquatic humanoids with translucent skin. Around him stood representatives of the other Alliance members, the avian threll with their colorful plumage, the insectoid Zek with their compound eyes, the plant-like Verdani, the crystalline Araxi, the gaseous Muri contained in environmental suits, and a reptilian Sorok. All shared one thing in common: they were physically fragile compared to humans. Liran stepped forward, performing a complex greeting gesture with his 4 webbed hands. Welcome to Vela Prime, Captain Chen. We are honored by your presence, though the circumstances are tragic. Maya nodded, feeling the lightness in her steps from the lower gravity. We're sorry we couldn't arrive sooner. The human delegation followed Liran into a vast circular chamber where the 7 high counselors waited. They watched the humans with a mixture of hope and apprehension. They are much smaller than described in the ancient texts, one counselor whispered, not realizing the human's enhanced hearing could detect his words. But density readings indicate their physical mass is nearly twice ours, another replied. And look at how they move. So quick, so solid. Maya pretended not to hear as Liran made formal introductions. The humans had been briefed on Alliance customs and managed not to commit any major cultural errors as they took their places at the meeting table. Tell us about these Ravagers, Maya said once the formalities concluded. High Counselor Thera activated a holographic display in the center of the table. They appeared at the edge of our territory 1 standard cycle ago. At first, we believed them to be explorers, like ourselves. Her feathered hands manipulated the controls, showing images of the massive black ships. They responded to our welcome messages with silence, then began stripping our outermost colony world of all resources, including the colonists. We lost contact with 11 million Alliance citizens on that first world, Liran added quietly. The display showed the progression of the Ravagers' advance. Methodical, unstoppable. The Alliance had no significant military, having evolved as cooperative species with few natural predators on their homeworlds. We sent peace envoys, Counselor Zeth said. They were returned to us in pieces. Lieutenant Kato, who had accompanied Maya, studied the tactical data with professional interest. Their ships are impressive, but not invulnerable. Our initial scans detected several potential weaknesses in their design. The Alliance members looked at him with surprise, then back to Maya. "You believe you can fight them?" Counselor Zeth asked, disbelief evident in his voice. "That's why we're here," Maya replied simply. Ambassador Liren leaned forward. "Forgive me, Captain, but our research indicated that Earth is a challenging world. We know humans evolved under harsh conditions, but the Ravagers have conquered 12 systems before ours. They have technology we cannot comprehend." Maya smiled. "Technology isn't everything, Ambassador. Humanity has survived and thrived because we never stopped fighting. It's in our nature." To demonstrate her point, Maya nodded to Dr. Elara Wilson. The xenobiologist removed a small case from her pack and opened it, revealing various Earth specimens preserved in clear containers. "These are some species from our world," Wilson explained. "This plant can survive being completely dried out for years, then revive with a drop of water. This insect can withstand radiation levels that would kill most life forms. This simple organism can survive in the vacuum of space." The council members examined the specimens with growing amazement. "And humans?" Liren asked quietly. "What can you withstand?" Instead of answering directly, Maya removed her uniform jacket. "Your atmosphere is quite comfortable for us, though a bit argon-rich. We could stay awake for 3 days without serious impairment if necessary. We can survive temperature ranges from far below freezing to well above your highest summer heat." The demonstration continued as other human team members shared examples of human capabilities, their bone density, muscle strength, and endurance that seemed almost mythical to the Alliance species. "Our ancestors once considered Earth-type worlds merely theoretical," Counselor Thera admitted. "Planets where the very environment constantly tries to kill its inhabitants, creating species hardened through evolutionary pressure. We thought such worlds too harsh to produce civilized societies. We've had our uncivilized moments," Maya acknowledged. "But we've learned that strength without compassion is meaningless. That's why we answered your call." A sudden alert interrupted their meeting. A young Thrall rushed into the chamber, her feathers bristling with urgency. "The Ravager vessels have changed course," she reported. "They're heading toward this planet. They must have detected the human fleet's arrival." Maya stood immediately. "How long until they reach us?" "Approximately 6 hours." The captain turned to her team. "We need to prepare. Lieutenant Cato, return to the fleet and begin defensive preparations. Dr. Wilson, work with the Alliance medical team. They'll need to understand human physiology if any of us are injured." As her team moved with practiced efficiency, Maya turned back to the stunned council. "This is happening faster than expected, but we're ready. Tell your people to prepare for possible evacuation from the major cities." "You still intend to fight?" Counselor Zeth asked incredulously. "Now that you've seen their numbers." Maya's expression hardened. "On Earth, we have a saying. The only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good people to do nothing. We didn't come all this way to do nothing." The command deck of the UES Thunderchild hummed with activity as officers prepared for the coming confrontation. Captain Maya Chen studied the tactical display where 8 human ships formed a defensive perimeter around Vela Prime. Against them, the advancing Ravager Armada had dispatched 15 of their black vessels, massive constructs that resembled jagged obsidian shards cutting through space. "They're sending only a fraction of their forces," Lieutenant Cato observed. "They don't consider us a serious threat." Maya nodded. "Good. Underestimation is an advantage we can use." The tactical officer, Lieutenant West, looked up from her console. "Captain, we've completed our analysis of their weapon systems based on Alliance data and our own scans. Their main weapons appear to be energy-based, with minimal physical shielding. They rely on overwhelming firepower rather than defense. Makes sense if they've never faced significant resistance," Maya replied. She activated the fleet-wide comm. All ships, this is Captain Chen. The enemy has grown accustomed to easy victories against peaceful species. Today they meet humanity. Hold formation Epsilon until I mark. As the Ravager ships closed distance, Maya felt a strange calm settle over her. Earth had engaged in skirmishes with pirates near Alpha Centauri, but this was humanity's first true interstellar battle. History was being written, and she was acutely aware of the responsibility. Enemy vessels entering weapons range in 30 seconds, West announced. Maya straightened her uniform. Launch disruptor drones. Let's see how they react. Small unmanned craft shot from the human vessels, speeding toward the Ravager formation. The black ships responded immediately, firing energy beams that vaporized several drones, but not before the remaining units detonated in brilliant flashes that temporarily scrambled sensors across the battlefield. Formation Omega, Maya ordered. Execute now. The human fleet broke from their defensive posture, ships moving with practiced precision, into an aggressive attack pattern. The Thunderchild led the charge, its railguns firing hypervelocity rounds that struck the lead Ravager vessel before its sensors could recover. The impact was spectacular. Where the Alliance weapons had barely scratched the alien hulls, the human projectiles, simple slugs of dense metal accelerated to near-relativistic speeds, punched clean through the Ravager ship's outer armor. Direct hits confirmed, West reported, unable to keep excitement from her voice. Enemy vessel showing significant damage to its forward section. The Ravager armada seemed momentarily stunned by the effective attack. Their formation faltered, then regrouped as they launched a counteroffensive. Energy beams lashed out, striking two human vessels with devastating force. The Hiroshima and Santiago have taken critical damage, Kaido reported grimly. The Jakarta is still operational, but has lost main engines. Maya gripped the edge of the tactical table. Have them fall back to defensive positions. All other ships continue the attack pattern. Focus fire on the damaged enemy vessel. The battle intensified as both sides adjusted to each other's tactics. The humans proved more agile, their smaller ships dancing around the massive Ravager vessels, but the aliens' weapons were devastatingly powerful, each hit causing serious damage to the Earth ships. Captain, Dr. Wilson called from the communication station. I'm intercepting their internal transmissions. Our translation matrix is having trouble, but they appear confused by our attack patterns. They've never faced an enemy that fights back effectively, Maya said. Keep pressing the advantage. 3 hours into the battle, the tide began to turn. 2 Ravager vessels had been disabled, their obsidian hulls shattered by concentrated human fire. But the Earth fleet had paid a heavy price. 3 ships destroyed, 2 others heavily damaged. The Thunderchild itself had taken multiple hits, its hull breached in several sections. Emergency force fields contained the atmosphere loss, but casualties were mounting. They're adapting to our tactics, Kaido warned as another volley of energy beams narrowly missed the Thunderchild. They're learning. Maya studied the tactical display, her mind racing. The remaining Ravager ships had formed a new pattern, one that effectively countered the human attack formations. If we can't outfight them, she murmured, we'll have to outthink them. She turned to Dr. Wilson. You've been analyzing their communication patterns. What have you learned about their command structure? Wilson brought up her findings. They appear to function as a collective, but there's a distinct command signal emanating from the largest vessel. Here. She highlighted a massive ship at the rear of the Ravager formation. Maya smiled grimly. Then that's our target. She outlined her plan quickly. It was dangerous, possibly suicidal, but it was their best chance. The Thunderchild would appear to retreat, drawing the Ravager vessels after it while the 3 remaining operational human ships circled around to strike at the command vessel from behind. Meanwhile, the heavily damaged Jakarta would serve as a Trojan horse, drifting dead in space until it could detonate its warp core directly beside the command ship. The Jakarta is crippled anyway, Maya explained to her officers. This gives her crew a chance to evacuate in escape pods and still strike a decisive blow. The plan was set in motion. The Thunderchild took heavy fire as it appeared to flee, its defensive systems strained to the breaking point. Maya felt the ship shudder around her as another energy beam struck home. "Hull breach on decks 5 through 7, reported the damage control officer. Casualties reported in engineering. Maya gritted her teeth. "Hold course. Give the Jakarta time to get into position." On the tactical display, she watched as the Jakarta drifted toward the Ravager command ship, its systems powered down to avoid detection. The 3 other human vessels had successfully circumnavigated the battlefield and were approaching from the opposite direction. "Jakarta reports all crew evacuated," Kaido announced. "Remote detonation systems active." Maya nodded. "Tell the other ships to prepare to fire on my mark." The moment came. The Jakarta, now within lethal range of the Ravager command ship, suddenly powered up its remaining systems. Detonation in 3, 2, 1. The Jakarta's warp core breached in a blinding flash of light. The explosion tore through the command ship's aft section, sending it tumbling out of formation. In the same instant, the 3 human vessels opened fire, their rail guns targeting the newly exposed vulnerabilities in the damaged vessel. The effect was immediate and dramatic. As the command ship's systems failed, the remaining Ravager vessels suddenly lost coordination. Their formation dissolved into chaos. "They're linked," Dr. Wilson exclaimed. "The command ship must control the others somehow." "Press the attack," Maya ordered. "Target each ship individually." The battle's momentum shifted decisively. Without central coordination, the Ravager vessels fought individually and ineffectively. One by one, they were disabled or destroyed by the remaining human ships. 3 hours later, it was over. The space around Vela Prime was littered with the debris of both fleets. Of the 8 human ships, only 3 remained operational, including the heavily damaged Thunderchild. But all 15 Ravager vessels had been neutralized. Maya stood in the council chamber once more, her uniform torn and stained with blood, some of it her own. Ambassador Liren and the High Council stared at her with expressions of awe and disbelief. "You defeated them," Councillor Thera said, her voice barely above a whisper. "At great cost," Maya acknowledged. "We lost 5 ships and hundreds of good people." "But you saved billions," Liren countered. "The entire Alliance owes you a debt we can never repay." Maya nodded wearily. "This was only one battle. Based on your intelligence, the Ravagers have many more ships. They'll be back." "And when they come," said Councillor Zeth, who had been the most skeptical of the humans, "will Earth stand with us again?" Maya smiled. "We didn't answer your call just to win one battle, Councillor. We came to forge an alliance. You have technology and knowledge we need. And we have." She gestured to herself, to the human capacity for warfare that had saved the day. "The Deathworlders," Liren finished for her. "Yes, I see now why the ancient texts warned us about planets like Earth. Not because you are monsters, but because you are warriors forged in fire." "We're more than warriors," Maya corrected him gently. "We're survivors. And now so are you." As the council chamber erupted in discussion about the future cooperation between Earth and the Vela Alliance, Maya looked out the viewport at the stars. The Ravagers would return, and the war was far from over. But for the first time since the black ships appeared on their sensors, the peoples of the Vela Alliance had something they lost along the way: hope. And sometimes, that was the most powerful weapon of all.